Hey guys, I want to welcome you back to another episode of Pistons Talk Podcast presented by FanDuel. Pistons were on the second night of a back-to-back tonight. Played in Cleveland last night, got the win. Come back home to see the number 2 seeded New York Knicks in Detroit. The Pistons will be home for a majority of January with a really big home stretch. But getting into this game and getting into these quarter notes, no Tobias Harris still, no Karis LeVert, no Jalen Duren. Both Duncan Robinson and Cade Cunningham were probable with some injuries. Cade had a hip contusion, had a nasty fall in Cleveland last night, and Duncan had a calf contusion. But, the Pistons obviously had a starting lineup like they did last game. Cade, Duncan, Asar, Paul Reed, and Isaiah Stewart. But something that really caught my attention in this first quarter was just the Pistons' energy to start this game. This felt like a playoff game for the Detroit Pistons. From the way that they were playing, the crowd, the energy, like you could hear it on TV. You could feel the electricity from the Detroit Pistons crowd in this one. We haven't played them in over 8 months since May 1st. And I think the Pistons really circled this game on the calendar because they just came out swinging. They were up very early in this game. It was a back and forth between Cade Cunningham and Jalen Brunson. Like, if you're just talking about a game as a basketball fan with two of the top point guards in the East and Cade Cunningham and Jalen Brunson, they were just exchanging baskets. Felt like Jalen Brunson really kept the Knicks in this one. And this was the best offense. The New York Knicks are the best offensive team in the Eastern Conference, and the Detroit Pistons are the best defensive team in the Eastern Conference. And the Pistons really put the clamps on defensively tonight. But Cade finished with 12 points in the first quarter. Pistons had a 1-point lead after one, 30-29 going into the second. Something that I'd love to see by JB Bickerstaff was going to Dennis Jenkins again. And what I like so much about the second quarter for him in particular, and why I want to kind of give him some love and give him some praise, is he was playing backup point guard. He was scoring again. He was facilitating, defending, just being a disruptor out there. And I think when he plays backup point guard, it's just such a natural fit for him, just the way he can come up and down the court, the flow in which he plays with, the energy, the connectivity. Like, he's just such a good guard. I can't wait for the Detroit Pistons to convert him to a standard contract because I think they found their backup point guard of the future. I really do. I think you've seen it time and time again. 20-point performance, clutch shots, good defense. The G League stuff with the Motor City Cruise last year. Like, he's going to be on this Detroit Pistons roster for a long time. He's a very good player. And, the defensive effort from the bench, like Javonte Green, who had a monster game tonight, really opened up opportunities in transition. And they were just making stops, running, and the Knicks just wanted no part of that. Their transition defense, I thought, all night was horrible. It was really bad. And the Pistons were able to crash the glass. They're one of the better offensive rebounding teams in the NBA, and they were able to just get more possessions, more opportunities to keep scoring. And the Knicks are a team that play double bigs. You have Mitchell Robinson out there, who's a good rebounder, a good shot blocker, and you have Karl Anthony Towns, who's a stretch five, stretch four, whatever you guys want to call him, out there playing with the New York Knicks. And the Pistons had 2 6'8" guys in Isaiah Stewart and Paul Reed, out working them, out hustling them. Someone had pointed out to me that Karl Anthony Towns finished with 1 rebound in a post-game graphic we posted. And Tolu Smith, who got garbage time tonight, finished with 2 rebounds, which is objectively hilarious that Cat only got 1 rebound all night. But he seemed very frustrated, was getting a lot of offensive fouls throughout the game. But getting back into the second quarter notes, Pistons had a 10-point lead, 64-54, putting 64 points on the Knicks and only holding them to 54 points when they're a very high potent offensive team. I thought was excellent by the Detroit Pistons. I know Isaiah Stewart a couple of games ago kind of called out the team defensively, saying like, we're better than that. That's not up to our standard. And I thought these past two games, the Pistons are kind of locking back into that defensive identity that they've had throughout the season. There's a reason why they're the second best defensive net rating team in the NBA. And you saw it tonight from Beef Stew and all those guys like Ron Holland and Asar Thompson, who we'll get into. Coming out of halftime, Pistons all opened up their lead, and it really felt like the New York Knicks, they just weren't flowing the same way they were in the first quarter and a little bit in the second. The Pistons were just executing in the half court, probably their best half court game, I'd say, this season. Whether it was just, pick and rolls, Cade Cunningham getting to his spots, Javonte Green crashing the glass, making the hustle plays, hitting 3-point shots. Asar Thompson was just everywhere. Whether it was guarding Jalen Brunson, crashing the glass offensive and defensively, picking his spots, getting to his spots. I thought this was probably Asar Thompson's better games that he's had this season. Everything was controlled. There wasn't any turnovers where you're just saying, like, why did you do that? He had an excellent game, and you have to give credit where credit's due. I thought Asar had such a great game. There were multiple players throughout this game that I think we're going to be talking about with this post-game podcast, but really liked what I saw from Cade as well. In his back scoring, defensively, assisting, just kind of being the engine that we know he is. Pistons did get a little bit cold towards the end. They went 6 straight possessions without scoring, but Jaden Ivey really helped them down the stretch of the third quarter. He had 6 straight points to try to get this lead back up, and it was 89 to 69 after the third quarter. And a little stat that the broadcast Peacock said tonight, this was the fewest points in a quarter, in the third quarter, by the New York Knicks all season. The Pistons only allowed them to score 15 points, and you got to credit their defense. They're a very high potent offensive team coached by Mike Brown, and the Pistons held them to scoring under 20 points. Going into the fourth quarter, the Pistons were just super aggressive. They had their foot on the gas, and I think we can probably say, like, this was a game where they were laser focused. They were looking to close this game out, not having any last minute fourth quarter collapses like we've seen in previous games where they were up 20 and it's only a 3 or 4 point victory. This was a complete game by this team. The Knicks, within 3 minutes left of this fourth, just waved the white flag. They had a bunch of their deep rotation bench guys out there, along with the Pistons as well. Javonte Green, Chaz Lanier, Dennis, Tolu Smith, got some clock. Marcus Sasser as well. But the Pistons win this one in dominating fashion, 121-90. Knicks don't even crack 100, which, again, back-to-back wins against the Cavs and the Knicks. I'm going to be very curious to see what the talking points are from a national level, because I know here locally, I feel like I do a pretty good job of covering the team. I feel like other podcasters do a very good job of covering the team, whether it's Pistons Pulse or Locked On Pistons, or our guy Sean from Half Court. Like, I think collectively we know that this team is a very good basketball team, but from a national perspective, like the ESPN guys, the Yahoo guys, the Ringer guys, like, are they going to start giving the Pistons the respect that I think they actually deserve? Because all we've been hearing since we've been in the number 1 seed for the past 2 months is the Knicks are the best team in the East. Are you going to give the Pistons the respect that they deserve? Back-to-back wins against Cleveland, who's an 8 seed right now, but understand Cleveland's still a very talented team, and a number 2 high-potent offensive New York Knicks team that you just straight up embarrassed. You mollywopped them tonight. Like, the Knicks wanted no part of the Detroit Pistons. They wanted no part of Isaiah Stewart and Jaden Ivey, who missed last year's playoffs, and you see how important, how crucial they are to this team. But I think not singling those 2 guys out specifically, I think you see how important this team is, from the first man all the way to the two-way guys. This team's very deep, and you as Pistons fans should be very proud of this basketball team. Number 1 in the East. They're almost at a 30-win total very early on in this NBA season. We haven't even hit the halfway mark yet. This is a team that is looking like it can win 50-plus games, which, hey, man, It's awesome to see. I know the Vegas line right now over on FanDuel, it's at 55.5. Like, this could be a 55 win team, you guys. It really could. Going into this game, the Pistons weren't the favorite either. They had the Knicks as a 2.5 point favorite into this game, which is back-to-back games where the Pistons weren't favored and they go out and win, which, I mean, just two big games, two big statement wins, I think. And I'm really happy. As you guys can tell, I'm really jacked up for this win. I can't stop smiling. But I do want to get into the box score and then the team stats. And then we'll open up the show to comments, questions, overall thoughts, open forum. If you're brand new here, if you have any comments with tonight's game, comments about the Detroit Pistons in general, leave them in the live chat. I will get to as many as I possibly can, but let's get into the box score with this post-game podcast. So I actually have to add them because I forgot to add them before I went on. So give me like 2 seconds, you guys, to add these so we can kind of get into it as I'm talking to you live on just the fly right now. Okay. So getting into the box score with the Detroit Pistons starters, we'll start with them first. Duncan Robinson played 21 minutes in this one, 9 points, 3 out of 8 from the field, 2 out of 6 from 3. Made one free throw at the free throw line where he was perfect. 5 rebounds, 1 turnover, 1 steal. It was a plus 25 in the plus minus tonight. Paul Reed in his second consecutive start, 26 minutes, 8 rebounds, 4 out of 7 from the field, 0 for 1 from 3, 8 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 turnover, and 1 block in this one. Plus 22. I thought Paul Reed had a very controlled game, didn't really do anything out of control, just gave the Pistons a quality start and quality minutes tonight. Isaiah Stewart, 32 minutes in his second consecutive start, 7 points, 3 out of 8 from the field, 1 out of 4 from 3, 0 for 2 from the free throw line. Cashed in 9 rebounds, 2 block shots. He was a plus 13 in this one. I thought he did an excellent job tonight just defending multiple New York Knicks players, whether it was Karl Anthony Towns, switched on the Jalen Brunson, a couple possessions, but you're just kind of seeing the versatility of Isaiah Stewart as a defender. Cade Cunningham in this one only played 29 minutes, which I have not seen Cade's minute total that low in quite a long time. Usually I'm talking like 36, 37, almost 40 minutes, but he had a very efficient night. 29 points, 11 out of 17 from the field, 3 out of 4 from 3, 4 out of 5 from the free throw line, 3 rebounds, 13 assists, 5 turnovers with those 13 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks. He had a huge block that the broadcast showed like multiple times. Cade was a plus 23 in the plus minus. Star Thompson only played 20 minutes, 10 points, 4 out of 8 from the field, perfect from the free throw line, 2 out of 2, 7 big rebounds, 1 assist, 3 turnovers, 2 steals. It was a plus 23 in this one. His impact, I don't even think you could really say it shows up in the box score. The rebounds, the scoring, anytime you can get 10 to 12 points out of a star, I think it's a bonus. But I thought his impact was so positive tonight that you have to talk about it. Tolu Smith in 5 minutes in garbage time got 2 rebounds. Like I mentioned, he out-rebounded Cat tonight. Cat had 1. Tolu had 2. He had 1 assist and 1 turnover. It was a plus 5. Ron Holland in 24 minutes had 5 points, 2 out of 5 from the field. Perfect from 3, 1 for 1. 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 turnover, 1 steal, 3 big blocks by Ron Holland on this one. Another player that I thought played excellent defense, really brought the energy and the just the connectivity off the bench, which he usually does on a night-to-night basis. Javonte Green in 29 big minutes, 17 points, 6 out of 9 from the field, 4 out of 6 from 3, 1 for 2 from the free throw line, 2 rebounds, 3 steals, plus 12 in the plus minus for Javonte Green. Played excellent tonight. Marcus Sasser, 5 minutes, scored 8 points, perfect from the field. He just came in, look at the score, and that's just the Marcus Sasser thing to do. Love that he did get a little bit of time towards the end. 1 assist, 1 turnover, 1 steal, 1 block, was a plus 5 in the plus minus. Jaden Ivey in 22 minutes off the bench, really huge, 16 points, one of his best scoring performances off the bench for the Pistons. 6 out of 10 from the field, 1 out of 2 from 3, 3 out of 4 from the free throw line, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. finished with a 0 in the plus minus. Chaz Lanier in 5 minutes didn't really do anything. Grabbed a assist and a steal, was a +5. And Dennis Jenkins, 23 minutes, 12 points off the bench, 5 out of 10 from the field, 2 out of 4 from 3, 4 assists, 1 turnover, 1 steal, and 2 blocks. This was the team tonight in the Detroit Pistons that were just swatting everything, every opportunity. As we do kind of look at the team stats in this one, the Detroit Pistons were able to generate 10 more possessions. They shot 47 out of 86 from the field, a whopping 55%. This was one of their better shooting nights. I mean, back-to-back games where they've made 15 plus threes. They were over 52% from 3, 16 out of 31. Really good shooting night from them. 11 out of 16 from the free throw line, 69%. Neither team really got to the free throw line. I liked that the refs were letting these guys play. They weren't calling any of the ticky-tack fouls. They were just letting them be physical with each other, which I respect, and I actually like watching. I don't know about you guys. I don't like watching a game where an official will call like 40, 50 fouls on the opposing team. I think it just ruins the flow of the game. Pistons out-rebounded the Knicks by 14. They grabbed 44 to the Knicks 30. 14 offensive rebounds, just huge by this team. 25 assists to the Knicks 15. 12 steals, 11 block shots. They were just so active. Pistons did have 16 turnovers, but the Knicks had 20. I think if you can get those turnovers down to 11, 12 a game, you can live with it. 21 fast break points. Points in the paint, they dominated as well, 52-34. But this was just a hell of a game. Their largest lead was by 33 points. But, I mean, if you're a Piston fan, you're probably so proud of this team, the way that they played, the way that they battled. I know I am as a Piston fan. Probably the most dominating win that they've had. Probably the one win that I think holds a little bit more weight than others this season. I want to get into comments and questions. We're just going to take a quick break, go through the live chat because I see you guys are leaving me comments. I want to get to as many questions, thoughts with tonight's game because it was a big victory that we can all talk about and share tonight. So we will be right back, you guys, after this quick commercial break. Okay, you guys, we're back. I appreciate you staying with us during this commercial break. Want to go over some comments and questions that you left in the live chat on YouTube. If you're an audio listener, you want to catch one of these post-game podcasts on a live stream, definitely encourage you to do so. I'm not pressuring you by any means. If you just like listen to these podcasts on the podcast side, that's cool. But I love to interact with each and every one of you Detroit Pistons fans. I want to go to Derek Brown. He does get the first comment of today's post-game show. Shout out to you, Derek. He says Javonte Green was a great free agent signing this offseason. 100% agree. I think some nights he gets so overlooked as a signing because I'll be the first one to admit when I saw the signing to you guys, I was like, that's interesting. I wonder why we picked up a forward um, that's defensive, can hit the occasional three. I didn't really like understand the signing, but I think you've seen tonight when everything's going for him, especially when he's shooting the ball as well as he did, like his impact defensively is amazing. I feel like every game the guy has multiple steals. He's just an energy guy, a glue guy. Having him and Ron Holland off your bench is just complete chaos. I think opposing teams, especially their second unit and their bench unit, having to deal with both of those guys is just probably a headache. But yeah, Javonte Green has been an underrated signing by the Detroit Pistons. I can't imagine they don't bring him back maybe on a couple year deal because just the vet that he is. I think sometimes we forget that he is considered a vet. He's a little bit older. He's been a great addition by Trajan Langdon and their front office, and really good find by them because played a little bit with New Orleans, had his best stint with the Chicago Bulls, but really love Javonte Green. Got to appreciate him with nights like tonight where he's just impacting on both ends of the floor and talking shit too. I could definitely hear him talk some shit even through the TV. So I don't know what he was saying, but you could hear like every other word. I have a comment from Lynn. Love it. 3-1-3 Detroit versus everybody. I mean, that's the mood tonight. That's the mood. Especially when you have people across the NBA not wanting to actually praise the Pistons for what they're doing right now. Marquez has a observation, and he says Mitchell Robinson of New York won't be grabbing easy rebounds now that Isaiah Stewart is back. Cade is building an most valuable player case, and the Pistons are proving they are legit by the game. Keep doubting haters. A lot to get into and unpack with that comment from Marquez. Mitchell Robinson is a very good rebounder, offensive and defensive, but he didn't really have to deal with that. He only had to deal with Paul Reed and Jalen Duren. Like Isaiah Stewart is just a problem to deal with, especially when you're battling down low for possessions. Like he is not going to shy away from contact and physicality. And I think that's what really helped the Pistons win this tonight was his physicality on the glass, switching defensively and just being a menace out there and protecting the rim. I think you see tonight, like his impact these past two starts, he's been amazing, especially that switch on Donovan Mitchell late where he blocked his shot. Like his versatility as a defender, there's a reason why he won Eastern Conference Defensive Player of the Month. He keeps playing, those high 20s, possibly 30s. Like you're going to have to start putting him in Defensive Player of the Year conversations. You're going to start to have to put him on first team all defense considerations because the defense that he plays night in and night out is very noticeable. And when he's on the bench, there is a dip. There's a huge dip with Isaiah Stewart when he does hit the bench. To your second comment about Cade is building an MVP case, he's been in MVP rankings and ladders from NBA.com all year. I think the highest I've ever seen him so far is 5, but you have to give him consideration because we've been told that MVP is a couple of things. It's winning. Pistons are the number one in the East. They're getting the wins. It's team success. Best success this team has had since the Flip Sonder year, where they had one of their best seasons in franchise history. Cade is definitely, putting the league on notice. He's going to be a 2-time All-Star. He's going to be an All-NBA player. I think he's made the case to be up there for, first team All-NBA. I really do. I mean, just the way he's playing, the way he's scoring, defending, like Cade has been amazing. And, if people aren't bought into the Detroit Pistons by now and they're still doubting them, they think it's just like a regular season success. Like they're building off of like what they did in the playoffs last year against the New York Knicks. Like that playoff series was great for them because it showed them where you have to go to get to the next level. And I think Cade has done that. I think a lot of players on this roster have done that, especially Paul Reed. Like Paul Reed looks stronger. Like during the playoff series, I felt like he was just getting out muscled and hustled by Cat and Mitchell Robinson, but he was holding his own. He wasn't getting bullied like he was in the post, and you can tell he put in off-season work to get stronger in the weight room, and I think it showed tonight. Want to get into another comment. Love how we put the league on notice. Everyone crowning the Knicks too early. Yeah, like that's the thing I got into a little bit earlier. Like I'll be interested to see from a national level how the Detroit Pistons are talked about. Like, are they just going to say, the Knicks had an off game and the Pistons just had a all-time shooting night? Are they going to, give the Knicks excuses? They didn't have Josh Hart. They didn't have Landry Shamet, or are they actually going to talk about them positively and saying, like, we might have to talk about the Detroit Pistons for real? It better be the second part. I better not hear any excuses. We were without two starters and a bench player. No Tobias Harris, no Jalen Duren, no Karis LeVert. Like, I don't want to hear any excuses from the national media. Like, start to give the Detroit Pistons the respect. Ted said, good to see Spike courtside. He looked disgusted, like straight up. Spike Lee, really nice guy. But, man, he looked genuinely disgusted that, one, he bought a courtside seat in Detroit, traveled to Detroit. But, two, he looked disgusted by the effort tonight. Like, he did not look like he was having a good time. The cameraman for the Peacock game kept zooming in on his reaction, and he just looked miserable watching the Knicks just get BTA today. It was kind of funny. I have a comment as it does relate to James Dolan, which, if you guys don't know, James Dolan actually talked on a radio show today. I don't know why he chose today of all days, maybe to kind of take the heat off this game. But Dolan says they're going to the finals before this game. I did see that quote. I did listen to that interview. And they asked him, why didn't you raise the in-season tournament banner at Madison Square Garden? He says, we're going to raise a banner, but we're going to be raising the NBA Finals banner. Poor timing for that. Yeah, it didn't look like a team that's going to make it to the NBA Finals. Now, granted, I know they don't have Josh Hart. Knicks are 4-4 when Josh Hart doesn't play. But you still had Jalen Brunson, OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, and Karl-Anthony Towns. And it was just a no-show outside of Jalen Brunson tonight. D. Billy Bob as a comment as it does relate to trades as we do get closer to this NBA trade deadline. We're a month away, and there was some crazy trade news today as it does relate to Trae Young. Maybe we'll talk about it towards the end of this podcast. But his comment says, I say no trades. Why mess with the team chemistry? And I think that's something that a lot of fans have kind of mentioned throughout the season. Like, the way that this team plays collectively, the way that they are just very deep, you don't really want to mess with the chemistry too much. But I do think there are areas of improvement for this team. I still think adding another perimeter shooter or another three-point specialist could be huge. Now, whether Malik Beasley gets cleared, whether you're out there looking at the trade deadline, because I do think there are some players that could be available for the Detroit Pistons as they look to make a deep playoff push and, make it out of the first round, win their first playoff series since 2008. It'll be interesting to see what Trajan does, but everything we've heard, all the reporting, they're looking to be very opportunistic, much like they were last season with Dennis Schroeder at the 11th hour. You got him for a second-round pick. So I would probably expect the same type of moves and the same type of mindset from this Detroit Pistons organization and the front office with Trajan Langdon as it does relate to trades. I don't think they'll make any big splashy trades, but they might look to upgrade the bench or maybe some more forward depth in the front court. Or who knows? Maybe more forward depth. I really don't know. I know I just said more forward depth twice. I was trying to think and read a comment at the same time. Another comment says, the atmosphere was crazy in the arena tonight. Good identity win for the Detroit Pistons. I mean, you could feel it through the TV. Like, you didn't even really have to be down there. You could honestly feel just the electricity through the TV with the fans. They were up there. Like, I love to see it. Obviously, I would have loved to go to that game, but my toilet decided, hey, we're going to stop working and just make a mess today. So I had to call a plumber and wait all day around for a plumber. But hey, man, I'm glad I was able to watch this Pistons game with you guys and do this post game show with you guys. Like it's really fun to come up on these post game podcasts after just such a dominating and a big time statement win. Kakashi Hadake says if we had Stu in the playoffs, Cat would have been completely neutralized. I think Stu does a very good job of defending Cat. Cat is such a weird player. In like when he tries to put the ball on the floor, like his body looks so unnatural. I don't know if it's just me, but when like I'm watching him like try to put the ball on the floor, like he had a play where he got past Javante Green and then he, inadvertently like kneed Cade in the nuts, which they overturned it, which I didn't think they were going to, but it was Pistons ball after that. But honestly, the way that Stu defends Cat, it's great. I mean, you saw his versatility this past two games, whether it's Mitchell or Cat, like he can switch 1 through 5. And I think that's why I'm so high on him and keeping him. And you look at his contract, like he's on a mid-level exception now. Like he's on a $15 million contract. I still remember when Pistons fans were really like upset when they decided to give him a contract extension when they were going through a rebuild, saying, man, 15 million is too much for Stu. But I mean, it's probably the most versatile defender that the Pistons have, and it's a value contract, I think, across the league. Like I think a lot of people would love to have a elite shot blocker and a rim protector for $15 million. Cade has reached as high as 4 in terms of the MVP talks. Yeah, I mean, I honestly think like this is just me, right? And maybe it's a little Pistons bias coming out, Ben. I think you can rank Cade above Luka Doncic. Just in terms of like what the Pistons are doing in the MVP ladder. Not saying that Cade's better than Luka Doncic. I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying Cade right now, I think team success wise is having a better season. Luka is scoring the basketball at a crazy rate. Pretty sure he leads the league in scoring right now. But the Lakers don't play a lick of defense, like at all. We just saw the Lakers. It was like a layup line when we played them in the West Coast trip. Everyone was scoring. Lakers don't play any defense whatsoever. Even JJ Redick was like, yeah, like in a post game, he's like, I don't even know what to do because these guys can't even comprehend what I'm saying in a timeout, and none of them are even playing any sort of defense. So I mean, that's just kind of like where the Lakers are at. I mean, they have, offensive talent from LeBron, Luka to Austin Reeves, but they're not playing any defense. But circling back to your comment, I think you're going to start seeing Cade Cunningham, leap that MVP ladder. It'll probably be like SGA, Jokic, Cade. I think that's where we're going to start seeing these conversations. If the Pistons keep winning in dominant fashion like this, I think that's a big, big contingent on MVP conversations. A Piston fan 11, Jalen Rose looked happy. Yeah, Jalen Rose was hype. He was extremely hype for this game. He's on the opposite end of the court, sitting courtside as well, clapping. Pretty sure I saw him point at Spike Lee when Cade had that huge block. Camera pointed at Jalen Brunson. Jalen Rose. So many Jalen's I gotta keep on the top of my head while I'm talking. Jalen Rose when Cade had that block. But I do want to get into the Trae Young news. So I see Jay Hart, so let's talk about it. So we will. So the Trae Young news, there's a report that came out today that the Hawks are looking to trade Trae Young. No surprise, they never extended him. So I think the writing was kind of on the wall for the Hawks. And a lot of the moves that they made, they were looking to be more long, athletic, stuff like that. And the team that was kind of leaked out today was the Washington Wizards, which I was like, At first I was like, that's a little weird, Washington. But then I kind of got thinking like the trade value, I guess the conversation is there's trade talk centered around CJ McCollum for Trae Young. Like, man, like I didn't think his value was that low. Not to say that CJ McCollum isn't a good player. Like I've mentioned him as like a Pistons target because I think he'd be like a good addition as a secondary scorer. but like a CJ for Trae Young swap is nasty value for a guy that was a high lottery pick a couple of years ago. Like to me, like I think Trae's worth a little bit more, but like everything you hear, like he's bad in the locker room. I don't know that to be true. His teammates don't like playing for him. Again, I don't know that for a fact to be true, but when he was out, the Hawks were winning more basketball games. And when he came back, there was like a stretch where they didn't win a single basketball game because the way he plays, it's one side of the court. He's very offensively talented, but like he doesn't play a lick of defense. He cherry picks on offense. He's not looking to switch or scrap or try to block a shot or just even try defensively. So we all know offensively what a talent he is, but hey, if Washington wants to, put the bid in for Trae Young and they can get him for CJ McCollum basically, and you give Alex Sarr a starting point guard and you're still able to keep Coulibaly, I think that's a good move for the Wizards. Like, are they a threat to the Pistons? I don't think so, but I think they are marginally better. I think they would, rank up there towards closer to maybe a possible play-in team, if they get everything rolling. But yeah, Trae Young in a Washington Wizards uniform would be a lot to get used to because he's been in Atlanta so many times. Chad Boone, has Pistons Talk always been with Believe? Yeah, we joined about 3 months ago. Recently, we decided to join them. They're really cool. Love working with them. All the guys over there. They make it really easy for me to do these post game podcasts and all the behind the scenes stuff that they do for the podcast, whether it's like booking guests or just help me out in general. Really love the team over at Believe. But yeah, we've been with Believe for about 3 months. Didn't start putting these lower thirds probably since maybe like a week or so ago, but love working with them, and it allows me to just talk basketball more frequently with you guys. 2 thumbs down on the Trae Young idea. Yeah, I'm not saying trade for Trae Young whatsoever. No, I'm just saying like people wanted to talk about the Trae Young stuff. I think Trae Young in Detroit would be an awful fit. I think the only teams to me that like makes sense schematically would be like Orlando because you need a lot of 3-and-D wings, and I think they have wings that could get away with him not playing defense. But hey, if the Wizards want to go in there and try to trade for Trae Young, let them. I think they definitely need some help. I mean, they really haven't had a decent point guard since John Wall. I know they drafted Trey Jones recently, a really high draft pick. I think he was like number 6 overall. But I mean, if you're gonna get Trae Young, I guess. But I mean, I don't know. I don't really think that that's a move where I'm like, ooh, like the Wizards got Trae Young. Like, how are the Pistons going to keep pace in the East? I don't really think that. I think the Pistons will be all right. I think a lot of teams in the East probably saw it today and they're like, oh, that's interesting. Cool. What's next? Because I'm waiting for a domino to fall. As soon as someone makes one trade, usually another trade kind of follows that. So if Washington is the first team to make that first trade, you see maybe marginal trades or semi big trades follow that. Again, as we get closer to this February 5th deadline, you're going to start seeing more NBA trade rumors as it relates to the NBA and the Detroit Pistons a little bit. But yeah, like I even saw like Zach LaVine might get moved to the deadline. Milwaukee might trade for Zach LaVine. Gotta have Zach LaVine back in the division when we got rid of him again, right? Like I don't want to see Zach LaVine in Milwaukee, but hey, the Bucks want to do that, try to keep Giannis happy as possible. I mean, I guess they have to do it. That's their franchise guy. But I'm going to wrap up this podcast, you guys. We will see you on Wednesday when they play the Bulls for the post-game podcast. And then Red Baron, I did see your comment. What would be your 2 trade targets for the Pistons? Be on the lookout for my NBA trade deadline video that I am working on. I've kind of teased it to you guys. I landscaped all 29 teams and came up with one trade from each team. We're about halfway through that, recording it. Should be done within the next week or so. I think you guys will really enjoy it if you do like trade talk. Looking at guys that I think are more under the radar, not like superstar names, because I feel like that'd be really easy just to fire up the trade machine and just say, hey, like, let's go trade for the star, right? I challenged myself, gave myself a spending limit. It'll be a really fun episode and a really fun podcast. Really excited for you guys to listen to that. But we'll see you guys on Wednesday. Hope you guys are having a great rest of your night. Stay safe, man. This world is so crazy, I swear. Every time I watch news, the world's getting crazier and crazier. And as always, go Pistons. Peace.